Welcome to the I-80 Club Saturday morning coffee show. Josh Peterson and Jack Mitchell with you. Jack, hello. How are you?
I'm fine. Happy cloudy morning in Lincoln, and I assume Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, it's cloudy, all right. It's cloudy. How's Reggie doing? Did he take a shit?
Thanks for asking. And yes, he did. He had his morning just jack around outside for as long as he wants to, and I had to impede on his schedule a little bit. So I apologize about the slightly late start today, but yes. But he's all I think he's relieved, and he's got a stick he's chewing on now. Not an actual stick, a rawhide stick. So we are good.
Good. Well, welcome everybody. This is the I-80 Club. This is the Saturday morning coffee show. We are doing not one, not two, but three shows today. Right after this one finishes, we'll be doing one exclusively for our subscribers. I-80 Live. Let's go. We'll be talking about Jack and I somehow haven't talked about the Bill Moose book together this week. We could talk about that. Some Husker football, some of those types of things. We'll do that right after this show at about 10 o'clock. And then coming up later today, Jack, you and Caleb Henry with the Nebrasketball Hour. It feels like a treat this season when I get to listen to you on the Nebrasketball Hour, since I've had to listen to my own voice on that show way too many times so far this season.
I don't foresee any conflicts here, at least in the immediate future, but this has been unpredictable, so we will see. But yes, on today, should be on whatever we do on Tuesday with the late game against Iowa. Ooh.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Ooh, baby.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's going to be that's going to be a hard night to get to sleep. I tell you that right
you'll
now.
be in a spicy mood that night.
Most of the big games have not come on weeknights. The Purdue one did, but that was an early one.
Michigan.
Yeah, you're right. I guess Michigan did.
But that wasn't an 8 o'clock. You're talking about a late game. Where you're having to do a post-game show at 10:30, and then you're sleepy, but you're not sleepy because you're so wired by the game.
Just realizing that, and I will be that night. So, please win. Please win.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Please win today.
It would be nice. So like and subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss the start of the post-game show. That'll start at about 2:30 is the game plan there. Given it's a home game, Caleb has some responsibilities from PBA. So that show will start at about 2:30. And again, we'll be going exclusively for subscribers. We did this a couple weeks ago. Jack, I don't know if we had anyone say we like this, but we didn't have anyone say we hate this. And so I think you and I took that to mean, I guess we can do this from time to time moving forward. So don't know if we'll always do this, but it does allow for a little bit more. I do too. It allows for a little more flexibility inside of our week. Plus, we're already rolling. We're already having a good time on a Saturday. And with Nebraska playing at noon today instead of 11, had a little bit more time in the morning to do some stuff there. So that is what we will be doing. Jab says maybe Jack should turn on notifications so he doesn't miss the start of the show. Wow. Everyone is roasting the hell out of you right now.
If they really knew. They really knew why they were doing that, they wouldn't do it. So anyway, we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Perfect. One more thing. Of course, we are going to the NCAA tournament, the I-80 Club Road Show, which, Jack, now we're like a month away from when this will actually be happening. I guess we're trying to figure out the exact day of everything. Well, we're a month away from Selection Sunday now, essentially. We're a week away from learning the seeding at this moment in time in terms of the NCAA tournament. They are releasing that next Saturday, so we'll have a bit of an idea on how many other Airbnbs do we need to start booking.
Oh, no.
Do we need to start dreaming about Buffalo?
I almost want them to go to Oklahoma City or St. Louis. Not quite, but almost as bad as I want them to win one game in the tournament at this point.
Wow. Power rankings for what Jack wants at the end of this season. Number 1 is win a tournament game. Number 2, above anything, is end up in Oklahoma City or St. Louis, please. Yeah. Those are the things that Jack is hoping for.
Yes, very much, because we got our places. We got our places reserved there. They are awesome. Like I mean, that's part of it. There's part of it is just the logistics and the price and the flights, and also part of it, like we hit the home run, I think, when it comes to where we would be staying in Oklahoma City or St. Louis, because we struck early while the iron was hot, had a good strategy, worked together as a team, picked out really some awesome places. We got, if we're in St. Louis, we are in a ridiculously amazing location in a really cool spot. if we were in Oklahoma City, the whole kind of downtown travel vibe is different in Oklahoma City than it is in St. Louis. You're kind of driving everywhere for the most part in Oklahoma City. We still have a good location nearby, but our house, oh baby, if we are in Oklahoma City, we have a Star Wars themed house. And I don't even know why I'm that excited about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't even care about Star Wars. This was a Caleb thing. He got so jacked when we started talking about that. He immediately responded, Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's got a movie theater in it. It's got an 8-man hot tub. It's got
podcasting live from the hot tub that night. Is that what we're talking about, Jack?
The hot after dark show. We were going to think about putting him in a bar, but maybe just from the hot tub. How about that?
Yeah.
So,
we go live from the hot tub. So, Matt asked, what's your number 3 location? I don't know.
We disagree.
Just please, God, Oklahoma City. Send us back to Oklahoma City again.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, spacebar,
Yeah.
return. Number 3. I haven't investigated enough.
That's the thing. We need to start looking at the other ones.
Yeah.
I really think we need to start doing that.
We can do that. Yeah. Well,
that damn game on Tuesday, Jack. That freaking Purdue game. Like that. And I mean, that game, and I guess we can use this as a way to enter. Oh, by the way, I put the graphic up. Sales at i80club.com if you would like to sponsor and send us there. We have built up a nice little sponsorship war chest so far, but we're looking for a few more that would like to help us out there. But gosh, Jack, I couldn't stop thinking about it on Tuesday. This game and then the Michigan game. And are we going to be looking back at those? Because now the margin of error, it's not that like if they take care of business the rest of the season, I think we are all mentally going to be in a good spot going into Selection Sunday in a month. If they don't, if they have any slip-ups against these bad teams, that's when, oh no, why couldn't Rink make a free throw? Oh no, why couldn't they hold on against Michigan? That's where the losses really start hurting you right now.
Yeah,
that's where they start hurting.
Yeah, no, I know. And again, I gotta continue to remind myself to keep the larger context. Like Nebraska loses to Purdue, and I'm like, and my response is, I don't know if they're a serious national title contender anymore.
Yeah.
Like these are the things in my mind that are bringing me down. Like I refer to this all the time, but I continue to have this ongoing sort of imaginary conversation between October me and February me.
Yes.
And I wish I could actually create it and just see the reaction. October me at some point would slap February me, I'm pretty sure.
Jack, that's such a great way to view it.
Get a hold of yourself.
Yeah. In a vacuum, imagine going to October you and saying, hey, so get a load of this. Valentine's morning, you guys are going to be doing a podcast. Nebraska is 21-3, and you're going to be like,
you're kind of down.
You're a little down, and you're going to say, that seems impossible. Somebody got hurt, and you're going to say, no, everybody is healthy. Actually, they're getting healthier.
Probably as healthy as they've been for a while.
You're going to say, wait a second. Okay, so I'm still down. What happened? Did somebody die? Did Fred Hoiberg leave? Are there rumors that he is leaving? No, there's no rumors. Nothing. Yeah. There's no drama. None of that is going on. You would be like, I don't understand.
Did they just get blown out? Did they Did they lose to some bad teams? Maybe
no. Yeah. So they've only lost to good teams. Well, and you're like, yeah, they're 21-3, and then you're gonna be like, yeah. But so here's the thing:
3 losses though.
They've lost 3 out of their last 4 games, and then October you would say, all right, I understand. And then you do the math and say, wait a second, 3 out of their last 4, they only have 3 losses. They're 21. Wait a second.
Right.
20. Were they 20-0? And you'd say, yeah, they were 20-0.
So they probably went. I'm guessing October me is probably I'm guessing then they went to Michigan or something and lost by 40 and lost, got blown out, maybe had a bad loss in there. And so obviously people are starting to get down or something changed a lot. No, they were all, 2 of them, they probably should have won. They may be again 2 of the 3 of them, maybe all 3 are within the best 5 teams in the country.
D'Lo, they've won 21 out of their last 24. Yeah, when you put it from that perspective, Jack, they're like one of the best teams. I don't know. They're like a top 10 team in the country, maybe is what they could be.
And yeah. So is there worry that the committee is, they're going to be like a double-digit seed or get back on the bubble? No, we're kind of worried about that we won't be able to stay in a Star Wars house.
And then October, you would say, I don't even like Star Wars.
Wait, you're going to the tournament? Oh yeah, we're going. I mean, we did all that. They're in. We're going.
Yeah.
That's all happening. It's just we'd really like to stay in this house and be able to drive.
Yeah. Also, Mike Schaefer works for you now. You say what?
What? That piece of crap?
The recruiting writer?
Did I lose my mind?
Yeah, what happened? Did we get hired by 24/7 Sports? Are we the bosses at 24/7 Sports?
The recruiting writer. That's killing me.
The financier, the recruiting writer,
the actor.
Oh man. Let's see. Husker from you. They've lost 2 games at less than full strength and another to a top 12 team in overtime despite a horrific start. It's okay. Jack, you know how every show you do after a loss, you're in a miserable mood, and by the end of it, you're like, you know what? I think this team could actually win the Super Bowl, this Nebraska football team. We're 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in, and I'm already like, hey, you know what? Look at that. They have lost 2 games at less than full strength. They did have a horrible start, and they lost in overtime.
You're doing me.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I love this that you haven't watched the game. You talked about it yesterday with Schaefer, with our employee, the host of Unemployed, oddly enough, with Schaefer, how you have not watched the game. And that makes sense because
no, you called it weird. I was walking my dog last night, and I listened to you and Schaefer from Wednesday, and you guys had a little party talking about how weird I was for it.
Well,
so I mean, I hear these things,
Now wait, was it because you hadn't watched it, or because you were gone again on a night?
No,
of
it was
game?
no. You weren't blaming me because I was gone. I had something,
okay.
but you guys thought it was weird that I refused to watch it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, I understand it. You talked me onto your side of the opinion, Jack.
I convinced you.
Yeah. And that is because why would you want to watch a horrifying loss, when you know the result of it being horrifying? But golly.
Another winning argument by Jack.
Yeah, that's one. Dude, that I don't know how everyone else feels about the Purdue game now, 3-4 days later. That missed free throw, that missed free throw.
I've heard about this. Oh
my gosh. It is
Sounds
just
bad.
Absolutely brutal. And that they score the 77th point with like 90 seconds left and they never score again. They had an empty possession. Purdue has a possession where they only make one free throw.
Is this regulation?
No, this is now in overtime.
Yeah.
In overtime, yeah. And because, God, dude, the jacket sucks. You would have gone back and rewatched the game, and you would have had a great time.
Oh,
the rink play that ties the game was awesome because they miss a shot. He gets a rebound. He goes up. He gets fouled. He makes it. The place comes unglued, and it's like, are they about to do this? No. The answer is no.
When I get back in a calmer place, I will watch at least that, or maybe the whole thing. Here was I told Mike this yesterday because I did watch a good portion of the first half. I left when Nebraska was down, I think 17, and things were looking as terrible as I could have ever imagined.
They were garbage.
Team. Every part of the game was going wrong.
Yes.
Purdue was hot. Nebraska could not get a rebound to save their life. Nebraska was either passing up shots or taking bad shots by people who shouldn't be taking them. They looked sluggish. They were turning the ball over. I was like, well, this thing is screwed. Unless they make the most amazing 180 of the way they're playing in a game, this is going to be a blowout all night long. And so that's how I left the live version of the game. And then the remainder of the game was spent on the Yahoo Sports app, where just at my daughter's concert. That app, if you go in like game mode, it's just like plays. And so it'll say defensive rebound by Mast, right? Turnover by
But there
Lawyer.
wasn't a whole lot of those. It was usually offensive rebound.
No, that's a good one.
Offensive rebounding by Purdue. Offensive rebounding by Purdue. Offensive rebounding by Purdue.
But it would give me those one by one. And that, friends, that is a wild way to take in a game that you care about.
It's so annoying. I hate it. I hate following games on a score app.
I haven't really done that a whole lot, especially a game I care that deeply about. And here is maybe the biggest frustration, which again is kind of, first world problems, but the biggest frustration with the entire night is
that your daughter had a performance. We agree. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. No, but it would have made, if you think the legend from the lead center would have been big, had I gone there when they were down 17 and they made one of the more miraculous comebacks you could ever imagine,
Yeah.
and they won. And I looked down at the program and I tweeted this, and I don't know if people quite got it because it was blurry. I looked down, and
I was confused by that tweet. Yeah.
One of the orchestras was playing I Dreamed a Dream from Les Mis, which was the musical I was at during the
first.
So that song is playing while Nebraska is freaking coming back at the end. And it timed out that overtime was just ending, and the concert was just ending, and they bring all the groups, like they have ensemble groups and a freshman group and a varsity group, and they bring them all stage the line, the whole thing, and they played Ode to Joy like 30 seconds after the game was over. And if Nebraska had won that, the live video I would have given of an orchestra playing Ode to Joy after Nebraska just won, and I'd probably be weeping. It would have been some of the best content.
Big strong men, tears in their eyes.
It would have been, but we lost just by that much. One of the a great win for Nebraska would have done a great add to the legend. And by the way, I would have never been able to go to a Purdue game in PBA again.
Yeah, I think this is your life now. Like, you always have to not only miss the game, but you need to go to performances.
They'll be like, "Oh, Purdue game? Okay, are you the guy who threw the beer or are you Jack Mitchell? Neither can come in." Okay, there we go.
Dilo says, forget a Star Wars room. If Nebraska beats Purdue, Jack transforms his entire basement into a Patty LaPoule shrine and then adds, "Look it up." Yeah, I don't get that joke, but it seems funny. Good job. That had the cadence of a joke. Good job by you, Dilo.
She is a singer. She sang. She was Les Mis. I assume she was in the Les Mis cast, the original cast or something. Was she in the original Broadway cast? And if you knew that off the top of your head, Dilo, you maybe should be going to some of these with me, because while I am very familiar with the musical, I cannot name drop the Broadway cast of it, assuming that's what she is.
Jack, let me ask you this.
Fantine? Did she play Fantine?
Let me ask you this, and I know you didn't watch the game, so in a way it's like kind of hard for you to answer, but I think that you'll have an opinion on it because you have opinions on everything. Husker from you says, despite all my "this is fine" talk, the rebounding and dependence on threes is a major concern for this squad making a run. You're nodding your head in agreement, so obviously you're going to agree there.
The first part especially.
Yeah. It's like, this is the weird part about this team, and to kind of go back into the October U discussion. In the broad perspective, this is incredible, and nothing is wrong with this team, and everything is fine, assuming that they do the thing that they need to do in a month. Like, otherwise, everything else is gravy, as we have all spent time talking about. But in terms of going back to those discussions from January, and is this team legit? And we were always like, okay, what do you mean by that question? Are you asking, can they win a tournament game? The answer is obviously yes. Can they win a national championship? That's where there was this difference of, the national people are talking about them as a Final Four contender, and none of us really think that they're that good. And we're just saying, can they do the thing that they have never done in their history? I wonder if those are those two,
There's these two parallel conversations, but different conversations that are always going on this season.
So this is a long-winded way of asking this. Those conversations are not colliding yet, are they? Like, when he says that, when Husker from you says that, we're still talking about the biggest picture or the toughest games that they would play in March, or in the Big Ten tournament, which is also in March, right? We're not talking about that compared to like a 4-13, or are we, do you think? Right now?
I don't think so, but here's why I really liked what Husker for MU said, or feel that way, especially about the rebound. We can talk about the three separately, but I mean, to me, there definitely is a type of a team that there's a bad matchup for Nebraska. And multiple guys who are 7 foot and skilled, which is good for many teams, to be honest. But that is definitely the biggest red flag in terms of a matchup. The size that Purdue and Illinois have in particular. I don't think Michigan so much. I mean, they got, what's his name, Maga or whatever he is, who's in the middle. I think his name is Maga, isn't it? And so they've got that guy, but especially when you've got, God, Illinois is just freaking ridiculous that they have so many of those guys. That's problematic. Because it changes. Here's what I think it does. It changes who rank mass can be offensively, and it significantly changes the weapon he becomes if him inside really doesn't become an option. Number two, Nebraska's biggest weakness is rebounding, and especially preventing offensive rebounds. And teams like that freaking feast on Nebraska. See what Purdue did. Illinois has done that as well. That's the other problem. And Nebraska can play, good defense for 80% of the time, but when you're getting 3 and 4 chances, it doesn't matter. Even if you've got really good defense. And Nebraska, in my mind, has to have defensive stops, turnovers, a little transition going to get that offense going. And that's why the first half looks so terrible, in my opinion. The defense wasn't happening. If the defense isn't, I think the defense dictates the success of the offense with this team. And so if you see the matchup, that'll be the first thing I look at when I look at the bracket is looking at right away the first round matchup. Like, okay, what kind of bigs are we talking about here? And then down, if we are hoping they're winning a few games, like what's the profile of the teams that they're playing against? Because I fear far more teams with bigs like Illinois and Illinois and Purdue have than I do, any other kind of a profile of the team. NBA style scoring or athleticism in
you're fine with
forward.
You're fine with.
I would.
You'd rather have that than bigs.
I'd rather have that than multiple huge, versatile athletic bigs.
They're probably not going to get that in a 3 versus 14 or a 4 versus 13. Though,
I don't know how many teams have it. I think Purdue and Illinois might be two of the absolute peaks at it.
Yeah, so to say something obvious, like that's why the 20-0 start, and that's why piling up all those wins and the nice resume. And good God, Jack, that Wisconsin win just continues to age spectacularly as they're just playing incredible basketball right now. They run Michigan State off the floor last night.
I know, but I watch how they play, and I saw a little bit of it, not a lot, but when I saw them, who do they play? Illinois the other night too. And I watched them and I was like, Wisconsin's a better matchup for Nebraska. And I think that was borne out. Now they're obviously playing better now than they did in December, but I just think
that was more to point out. That's why it's important that they got those wins because
100%.
Right now,
yeah.
We're still talking about them. It's so funny. Again, like there's the sky is falling. They've lost 3 out of 4. Yeah, but they're 21-3 and they're fine. I can't wait. It sucks. I wish today was the day of the bracket, the pre-bracket release or whatever the hell they call that thing. I want to know where they are, and we're going to have to wait another week to find out the answer to that question. And I guess at the very least, Jack, if it came out today, they wouldn't have a win that would do anything. Next week it would, because they would beat Iowa. If they can beat Iowa, on Tuesday night, then that's going to be another solid win on their ledger. And so I just can't wait to learn in a week, where are they? What seed line are we talking about? Because there's a reason that a 15 seed or a 14 seed or a 13 seed is a 13 or a 14 or 15. Most likely they're not going to have the type of players that you're talking about that cause fear, and that is big, tall, strong.
I
men.
assume
they're not going to have those guys.
But yeah, top tier teams don't have 22 feet of Eastern European usually.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if they are, they're people who just started playing basketball 4 months ago. That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Husker for MU says the 3 dependency worries me.
Let's talk about that.
Much. We don't really have the ability to go draw a foul to get to the line and settle things down. In theory, I agree with him, but I've really only seen that it cost them in a part of the Illinois game. They've overcome that in so many games when they haven't been hitting threes that. They seem to find ways around that way more than they find ways around the rebounding thing in my mind. So I guess, look, they lose a few games where they're over reliant on the 3 and can't hit them. I'll probably change my tune on that. But to me, it has not been nearly as damaging in what I've seen so far, especially in the last few losses, as the other things have. If you take those 3 losses, if you talk about the 3 losses, the rebounds by far were the problem, not reliance on 3. The reason that offense wasn't working in my mind too was when the defense wasn't working most.
Yeah, like 2 things off of that. One is, Jack, they have still not had a loss to a bad team. Like when it was so funny. I don't know if you were watching the game at this point in time. I'm guessing you weren't. They showed one of those graphics during the game on Tuesday night where it was like best wins or good wins, and it was it was Illinois, Michigan State, and Wisconsin. And instead of bad losses, it said notable losses. And that's the good thing about Nebraska right now is they don't have any bad losses. All of their losses are notable losses. And so, that's one thing. The other is, I understand that the point that Husker for MU and you were making, I'm not going to argue and say I'm not concerned about the reliance on 3. But until it happens against a bad team,
yes,
it cost them there. Like, I mean, right now it lost them the Michigan game. It lost them the Illinois game. It lost them the Purdue game, though I would agree with you. It was more about rebounding than anything else. Until that cost them a Northwestern game or the Rutgers game or the Minnesota game, the Penn State game. Like, then it's like, shit, that's a big concern.
And to defend or maybe speak for what Husker for MU was he said I'm projecting it forward, specifically the NCAAs. I think he was probably thinking in tournament format, you always, when you're picking your bracket, you look at, that's a team that needs to be hot from three to win. And you're like, okay, don't pick them too far in the bracket. And I think that might be kind of what he's saying. And we haven't seen it, but I think you're exactly right, Josh. If that would show up in, today, for instance, or in a game like one of the Iowa games, I think would be a great example where that, especially a team that plays defense like Iowa does, I think that, which is just wild to say, but that's probably where it becomes, I guess, to this point, the rebound. I don't know. You can hope you stay hot from three, or you find other ways to get around it. It's hard to just wish into better rebounding and more size to some degree. So I guess that's why I prioritize. But I think both are certainly valid points at this time. Why this team is completely screwed and just having a rough season. So
it's a terrible year. They've lost 3 out of 4. Everything is falling apart. It is a good question though. Like I just love the idea of, or not that love it, but it's a good question of, are we concerned about this thing against the good teams, or I guess here's the way to ask it. Jack, are we concerned that this problem shows up against everybody, or is it only a problem because it is shown up against the teams that we think will be in the second weekend and beyond, or have the potential to be in the second weekend and beyond? Those are much different discussions about concern level of things.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. You the worry against a first round, assuming they're not going to get worse than a 4, I think, and that's probably fair to say. And we were going through the percentages. Maybe we should look at that again, Josh, of seed upsets in those first 4 spots. But assuming they're in that, they're going to have to play out of character, I would think, to lose to a team that would be on one of those lines. You're just not going to have a Purdue or Illinois comp in terms of just big dominance that they've got. So it's one of these games where they shoot 12% from 3-point range. That's what you're worried about in that situation, I think, or something just completely uncharacteristic. But yeah, you're right. When we get into the true analysis of even if they play at their best, they're going to have a hard time. We're talking about those later rounds. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting if they can find a way to get through this whole regular season without any bad losses, and so they would go into the tournament with losses to only good teams or good adjacent. I mean, right now, Jack, they've only lost to good teams. I'd be very curious if they lose to Iowa, how we would view that loss on Tuesday, because they are not, we would all agree, they are a step down from the Illinois, Michigan, Purdue triumvirate, that is near the top of the league right now. And so if they lose to them, or what if they lost one or both of the West Coast games? Like, how are we viewing those? Because those are classic cross-country travel, tough opponents, good-ish, but not anywhere near the upper echelon of the Big Ten.
Yeah, so. It's, and I'm trying to find this website. There's a really good website. I can't pull it up right now because I can't think of it, that breaks down quads, but that's the exact question. I guess I'll turn what you asked and ask you that question. Are there any, I guess, what would you consider bad losses? There's obvious ones, but would you consider at Iowa, at USC, or at UCLA? I think they're all a level down from the losses that you have, but how much of a level down and what is included in that group would be my question.
Yeah, here, let me open up Bart real fast. I don't think Iowa is. I mean, the difference about Iowa is that they're obviously a team that everybody hates, and so there's the rivalry component. Iowa, Jack, right now is ranked 23rd in Bart. I don't think that we can call a top 25 team in the metrics a bad loss. UCLA is 38th. I mean, that feels that's like on the edge, in my opinion, of is it a not bad, it's just like a frustrating loss of, I guess, not to ask a question on top of your question. Is that a type of loss that just completely changes the viewpoint of the team going into the tournament?
I don't know.
Think that's what we're trying to, like, obviously a loss today.
Let me ask you that.
Yeah. A loss to Northwestern, a loss to Penn State, a loss to Maryland. I think we can all agree. Those are the obvious. That would be a bad loss.
Those would be
horrifying. Because they're all home games too.
Those would be loss in 2s out of the picture.
Yes,
two
for
seeds
sure.
out of the picture, in my opinion, especially Penn State and Maryland.
Dude, yeah. Bart has those as projected 20-point wins by Nebraska.
Northwestern's actually still a quad 2 game. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah,
I think they bumped up over 75 after that.
Because of Michigan game. Yeah, they played pretty well.
Iowa, both Iowa games, USC and UCLA are, this isn't the be all end all, but those are all quad 1 games right now for what it's worth.
Yeah. I would say Iowa, and this is just viewing it analytically, not emotionally. Iowa would be fine, either of them, but certainly the one on Tuesday, since it's on the road more than the one at home. I think UCLA is forgivable. I think USC, it would be really frustrating. And then obviously, as we mentioned, those other 3 home games would be absolutely awful. So I think that's kind of how I would put those games into those various buckets. Jordan says, if a loss to one of the California schools on the road is our worst loss, I'll take it. Again, tell that to October Jack. Great way to view it.
No,
Husker from you, none of these are damaging losses at all. And I think he means the ones that we were talking about, not named. What were the terrible?
No, yeah. I mean, if you get, and I guess we got to describe what we mean by damaging. I think I still am always thinking of things of staying
Oklahoma City,
which is staying on
we're just staying on that lens.
2 seed line, but you can still maybe do it at a 3 seed. Like, I'm so obsessed. Like, I keep running these like AI assistant deep research projects, and I give it all these parameters, like give me percentages for the rest of the games, and what if they get a certain record, what's their likely seed, and that kind of stuff. And I've actually got interesting stuff from it. I mean, I don't know how much I trust it, but like this thing, it says if Nebraska's it's got a 5% chance of winning out, a 20% chance of going up 27-4, a 45% chance of going 26-5. And then a 20% chance of going 25-6, and a 10% of going 24-7 or lower. And right now,
has them finishing 26-5. By the way,
26-5. So that would match, and it might have. It probably, maybe even.
So it'll be a 5-2 finish.
Yeah. And then this is interesting too. So if they would go 28-3, win out, it gives them a 2 seed, and it says basically locked in to Oklahoma City or St. Louis. If they are 27-4, it still gives them a shot at a 2 seed, but it's on the 2-3 line. And it's got they say then a 50% chance of going. Geez, they can only lose one game according to this, and then it drops to a 50% chance of going to Oklahoma City or St. Louis. Yikes.
I wonder, Jack, we always talk as the Big Ten tournament approaches about any conference tournament, the importance of these. If Nebraska loses one more time the rest of the year, what do we need to see from them, or what does the committee need to see from them if they are going to move up a seed line? Would they have to win the damn conference, or is it just pretty much all locked up by that point in time?
So one of the things that I don't know, and this is where people who are more NCAA tournament veterans than Nebraska fans might be able to help me. Those of you who follow other teams, but I don't know when you're talking about being a high seed, how the conference tournament affects it is one thing that
because they usually say it doesn't. They say it's pretty much already done.
Is that really true? Like so if Nebraska would get the double bye and be the 4 and play Michigan in the first round, hypothetically, and they lost that game, would it not change anything?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like there was a Creighton season within the last couple of years. Maybe it was last year. Did they beat UConn in the Big East tournament? No, they didn't. They beat them in the second round on Friday, or the third round, whatever day that was. And a lot of people are like, "Oh man, Creighton is now moved up. They're going to be on a different seed line," and they didn't. They were still on the 8-9 line, and so they won that game.
Interesting.
And they lost to Auburn.
So maybe it's true. I honestly admit I do not know how much to. I think probably if you win the whole thing, it might help. But on the other hand, by the time the Big Ten tournament happens, maybe they just have 2 brackets. If this team wins, if this team wins.
Think about it, Jack. So let's say Nebraska finishes as the 4, and so they get the double bye. They win their first game. They go play Michigan, and then they win that game, and then they play either Illinois or Purdue or Michigan State in the other game. God, what if they beat Michigan and Illinois, and yet that wouldn't do anything, which is nuts, because those are top 5 wins. Those would be 2 of the best wins anyone has had all year, and they would do it in back-to-back games. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense that wouldn't matter. And yet,
you would think.
He points out Big Ten tourney doesn't seem to move the needle much, but we need another big win.
It's crazy if that doesn't move the needle much, because it would be their biggest accomplishment of the year in an amazing year.
Yeah. If they beat Michigan, that is the best win, full stop. And Jack, I mean, view it from this perspective. It's one of the best wins that any team in college basketball has all year. And yet it would be like, yeah, but ho-hum, they're still a 3 seed.
Yeah, let me give you an interesting scenario. Let's say they lose at Iowa, it will lose one more game, but then they go and win the Big Ten tournament. How much does that get them back to where they were before they lost that Iowa game? Like, in reality, the Big Ten tournament accomplishment is way overshadows, to me, the Iowa loss, but I don't think it's treated that way.
Yeah. Jeff says winning the Big Ten tournament would be sweet, but am I wrong to think that I wouldn't mind them getting a little bit of rest before the tourney starts?
Yeah, I mean, man, it's only going to be, 3 games if they get a top 4 seed? Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Yeah, so I don't know. If they had to make a big run and it was more than 3 games, I think I might feel a little different about that. But he has a point. I mean, there have been coaches that have pretty clearly not tried to win that hard in these conference tournaments when they know when they're focusing on the NCAA.
I remember, Jack,
so there's something to it.
Yeah, the first time I ever remember being cognizant of that idea was the year that Roy Williams in North Carolina won their national championship back in 2005, because I was one of those Nebraska football, North Carolina basketball fans. Shout out to
sounds
me.
About right.
Yep, indeed. Right. And so I remember a lot of Tar Heel fans were pretty happy. They lost I think they lost on the Saturday of the ACC tournament that year. And so it was like, sweet, now they can get rest before the NCAA tournament. And then they went in there and they won 6 in a row and they won their Roy Williams first national championship. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And there does seem to be something about it, that a lot of teams don't like winning the conference tournament, especially because at the very least, if you're one of the best teams in the country, you are playing 3 games in 3 days. I mean, I understand that there is absolutely something to that, let alone if you have to do 4 and 4. I get why that is like, you know what? I'd rather not do that. Let's lose on Saturday, and then I'll see you in the NCAA tournament the next week.
Here's the other thing to consider. Even if they get a top 4 seed, they still have the potential to get a bad loss in the tournament, which is that's not off the table. Right?
In the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah, because someone weird always gets hot in the Big Ten tournament. There's going to be a random
like a random Nebraska from years.
Random Nebraska or a random Minnesota or Northwestern is one of those teams will probably be in that final group of 8, and you could be playing one of them instead of UCLA or Iowa in that first round, and so that probably is something that could hurt more than anything. That probably has the most impact. I'm going to guess.
Imagine in a month if we are doing a coffee show and Nebraska as a 4 seed had lost the day before, and there's going to be this glass half full, glass half empty discussion.
Yeah, there really will.
That game, because if you're glass half full, it will be thank God they lost. Now they can get healthy and get ready for the NCAA tournament. But if you are glass half empty, it's going to be, this is a sign. This is a sign of things to come. They are not peaking at the right time. They just lost to a shitty Minnesota team or a shitty Oregon team or whoever it is. Yeah. And now this is a big problem going into the NCAA tournament.
Watch Washington get healthy and go on a run. Somebody's going to. And somebody's going to. And now the benefit of it is they played 2 or 3 games already going into that game. This is why, we've always been as Nebraska fans being like, could they really win 5 games in a row? And it seems like it seems like so much more like potentially possible when you're on that side of it compared to when you're on this side of it. Mm-hmm. It's just a different perspective I've never had. I guess you did have, because Nebraska was the top 4 the one year when they played Michigan. Damn it.
2 times, Jack. They've been a top 4 seed. They were.
Oh, it was just 2 years ago, too, weren't they? 2
years ago. Yeah.
When
so
they got Terrence Shannon. Yeah.
2 years ago, the Michigan game. And then, Jack, don't forget the Tim Miles tournament team. Remember, they blew that lead against Ohio State. They were also a top 4 seed that day.
That's right. Yeah. The Aaron Kraft. The Aaron Kraft game. Mike and I talked about that game. Yes, we talked about that game on Unemployed yesterday.
That's when that was when Verz, RIP, Matt Verzal, was filling in for an extended period of time, and John on the show, because I'm trying to remember, the Big East tournament had been, John was on location, and he was like, well, Nebraska's got this locked up. They're good to go. They're going to win. They're going to play Saturday. And then they ended up blowing the lead, and everybody blamed John for it, which is always fun.
By the way, there's an example of a situation where you don't want to lose. I mean, that ended momentum of that team, that loss. It's kind of the counter argument to just lose and get out of the conference.
It really did, because they had been on a roll for a month.
Had they won that game, I feel like the NCAA tournament is a different. I mean, I probably would have changed the matchups to some degree. They
I was going to say, maybe they don't play Baylor in round
freaking
one.
Horrendous first round matchup with Baylor. That is one of the all time terrible that Baylor team, especially when they were, and they still do this, but when they were starting like 5, 6, 7 guys, it was in playing zone, and they're just such a weird. Such a completely weird team to face. So
that is the day, Jack, that I got the drunkest I've ever been. Was that opening day of the NCAA tournament? I've never been drunker than I was that day.
Where were you?
My house. We had people over for the tournament, and I was downing Elk Creek water like there was no tomorrow. And wow, yeah,
that was
blacked
the day.
Out very early in the day.
We watched the game at one of my buddies' house, and then we all got a place at. We used to do this every once in a while, get a place at Mahoney State Park, a cabin, and our all married couples, but the guys would go on one night and the girls would go on the next night. Eventually it got changed. So, cause the girls would go the first night, cause they thought the guys left it too messy and smelly, but we watch that game. We're going to watch this game, and then we're going to go party all night and celebrate, watch games. And then you just have this gut punch of a game. And so we all quietly drive. We stop at that little bar, the Casey's East Side Saloon in Ashland, sit there and drink and watch Creighton. Creighton played a team with a guy who weighed like
Louisiana.
Yeah, they had a dude who weighed like 350. He didn't look like a basketball player whatsoever. He looked like a backup defensive lineman. And for a while, he was doing some stuff, and we were at least getting a little joy out of that. But that was the moment, and I'm sure a story I've told before, but the waitress rings the bell after we're sitting there drinking and eating for 2 hours to one of the dudes in our party, and he gets it and he pays it. And we were like, can we get the rest of the bills? And she was like, no, that was the whole tab.
Oh my gosh.
It was like $47. Like, we're like, how much? That is an experience very unique to small town bars.
Yeah, we're like, wait a second, it's only this much money?
You'll get you'll be like, I think we've been drinking beer for 2 hours, and there's like 5 of us.
Yeah.
That can't be right, but whatever.
Yeah, this must have been just the first round of beers. Could you get us the other rounds of beers that we had?
The dude seriously thought it was his own ticket, his food and his drinks.
That is
incredible. And it was 5 or 6 people. It was amazing.
Wow. Let's go back to that simplistic time.
This is so fun to talk. Not necessarily my trip, but just the scenarios, all of these things. I enjoy even talking about it when Nebraska's on the outside looking in. I like talking about it. But the fact that we've got, something guaranteed already, the chance is guaranteed, and in fact looks likely of getting that first win. And now we're just talking about icing on the cake and getting in the world of just icing and getting lost in the world of just icing. And then you look back and you realize, oh, we already have the cake. It's just it's a fun place to be in. And I love the tournament. I love the scenarios. I love doing the what ifs. Like I could talk so much about this. We'd miss the game, and I just talked through it.
Well, and I think, D-Dub, this is a good way maybe as we get ready to wrap up this show. And don't forget, we're going to do a subscriber-only I-80 Live coming up at the top of the hour. We'll keep going, maybe a little more hoops and some football stuff. But D-Dub says, Nebraska's been unfortunate in their last 2 NCAA tournament appearances. Baylor and Texas A&M both got healthy late and were underseeded, both top 15 teams. Creighton has had some good luck in turning matchups with upsets, helping their path. But that Baylor game was a crap draw for them, too, in what may have been their best team of this era. And, of course, Jack, I mean, that goes back to the old adage that is now like more of a meme than anything at this point of it's all about matchups. But certainly the 2 NCAA tournament games that I can remember with Nebraska, because I don't remember the last one in, 98? I don't remember that one. Those matchups sucked. Texas A&M, when it came up, even past the Trev Alberts of it all, it was like, shit, really? This team? And then, of course, Baylor, it's the same thing. It's like, wow, it's going to take a legendary Nebraska performance if they're going to be able to do this. And that's true. I mean, that Creighton team, I mean, it's wild. That was the peak of his powers. Doug McDermott, he gets to 3,000 points in his career, and they lose by 30. The game was a joke, and it's like, wow, they ran into a buzzsaw. But when Creighton made the Elite Eight, they got some real nice matchups along the way, including a 15 seed in the second weekend. Like, you never know what's going to happen, whether it's the original matchup that you get or certainly a round 2 or a round 3 situation if it comes to that. So that of course, we're all wondering 2 things. One, where are they going to be? That's going to be most important. But, man, when that matchup shows up, whenever because Nebraska's name will show up first on whatever it is, who are they playing? And is it going to be oh no, that's a terrible matchup? Or is it going to be, all right, as long as Nebraska is able to play like they can, they're going to be just fine.
In part of that analysis I asked it to give me likely opponents, depending on what their seed is. And so this is what it gave me. For if they're a 2 seed, likely opponent, the 2 they gave me was UT Martin or Navy. And I did this not necessarily because of the specific teams, but to kind of give you an idea of the range. So UT Martin or Navy. That was not the first time I heard Navy. I think one time maybe Happer and Schaefer looked at a bracket that had Navy matching up against Nebraska. And then I started worrying, like making sure David Robinson didn't have eligibility because that's just the bad matchup Nebraska can't have. But I think we're good on that. 3 seed, Troy or Wright State. 4 seed, McNeese State or Utah Valley, to give you an idea of what that would look like.
I know nothing about any of those teams.
No, that's what's going to happen. No matter what, if you're a top 4 seed, there's no way you're going to know anything about any of them. In fact, you listed those 6 teams to me, I'd have no idea how to rank them 1 to 6. I'd have no idea whatsoever.
Jack, is it low-hanging fruit to say that the thing about the game is going to be, does Nebraska feel the pressure of this being the game that they need to win? Like, that's so much of the analysis that week is going to boil down to, yeah, but there's pressure because they've never done this.
It's not going to be about the opponent.
Correct.
In the first one, for right or for wrong. By the way, in the second round, if they would get a 2 seed, the type of team they would face and this is guaranteed going to happen because I've seen it again in a lot of brackets. Listed here is Texas A&M and Auburn for a potential second round game. That's the class of team now that you're talking about.
Yikes.
A 3 seed, Arkansas or St. John's. Oh my gosh.
Oh Lordy.
Calipari or Pitino. Are you kidding me?
Wow. To go to the Sweet 16.
And then it's a 4 seed. It's got it's got like Alabama and Florida listed, which I guess, that would be like a 4-5. Man, that would Florida is going to have some people picking them to win the national title. I can tell you that.
Exactly.
Right? And probably Alabama too.
Yeah.
So God, that feels pretty different between 2 and 4 there in terms of a second round matchup, doesn't it?
Matt says, I understand why fans feel it's under pressure, but I really don't think that's how the team sees it. And thank God for that. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. CJ Moore had that story about Nebraska from The Athletic, and he had a really interesting quote in there. I think it was from Sam Hoiberg, where he acknowledged 2 years ago they did feel that pressure, and they approached that game with the weight of 100 years or whatever it is of Nebraska basketball and never winning a tournament game. As long as they're not doing that this year, they will be fine in round 1.
It's interesting that he said that because my theory is always been that quote. My theory has always been I have to remember that these college students and players were not with me in the 80s and the 90s and living. They do not have the thousands of hours that we all have poured into this program and how that has affected our psyche about it. They have fortunately, they have a very different mindset. Is there pressure in any NCAA tournament game? 100%. Are they hearing about the streak? 100%. But the streak doesn't mean nearly what it does to them that it does us.
I mean, it makes
sense. It doesn't. Yeah.
Jack, it's like, and I have the quote. I'll read it to you. He says, this is CJ Moore. 2 years ago, the last time Nebraska made the tournament, it led Texas A&M by 7 early, but trailed by 14 at halftime in a 98-83 loss. Sam Hoiberg said they rode the emotions of the moment. Here's the quote. We didn't talk much about advancing far in the tournament. We just were so focused on getting that one win for this program. We're not going to ride the emotional roller coaster of playing in a tournament game. We're going to stay level the same way we have all year.
Interesting.
So
that bodes well, I think.
Yeah, and certainly, like, I like the idea of a team saying we're going to advance far and we have big dreams, and not can we win the tournament game.
And a thing that helps that, Josh, is being a top 4 seed because instead of what were they 9 or 10 that year?
They were a 9. Yeah,
9.
Yeah, they were 9.
Everybody knows a 9 has to play a 1 in the next round, so it's not. You're not,
and
really
it's about it. A 9-8 is I mean, as even as you can. I mean, literally, it's obviously
right.
As even as you can get in round 1 of the tournament.
If he's saying they should have had a more forward-looking goal, basically, that's naturally going to come this year if you're a top 4 seed, and especially if you do well at the end of the year and you're a top 2 seed, because you are going to be in people's Finals 4s. Nobody had Nebraska in the Final 4. that was serious about projections. People
Whereas
were
this
serious
year,
about it.
yeah.
If they're a 2 seed, might very well.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be analysts that do.
And the other thing about it too, Jack, to go back to the broader discussion, it's like being a fan of one of those. I mean, certainly the Cubs are the easy example. The Red Sox, before they had their championships, and that was like you have been with them for, I mean, in some cases 108 years, or in the case of the Red Sox, 86 years. And so for you, I mean, it really did, depending on how old you were as a Red Sox fan or a Cubs fan or whatever, that is like built into your DNA. But the players on the team, they don't have that. Now, maybe they feel it. I mean, I certainly, as a Cowboys fan now that has approached 30 years of futility, I think that pressure does get to the franchise, and I think it does get to the team. But all it takes, in the case of the Cubs, it took Joe Madden. What was his quote? Try not to suck. With that Red Sox team in 04, it was what did they call them? The idiots or whatever, the band of idiots. It was just like, that's not how we think. We don't think about it in 86 years. We think, can we win today? Can we win tomorrow? Can we win the next day? And that's, I mean, look, there's a lot of things that separates an athlete from you and me. The biggest thing that I think about with them is you have to have a short memory, and I'm always blown away. I go to a golf course, and if I'm having a solid round, one shot completely takes me out of it, and I'm ruined the rest of the round. You can't allow that to happen, though, and that's why I'm me.
But I think Fred has intentionally programmed this team to avoid that. That's one of the amazing things about this team. I think he has built the team from the beginning, full well knowing the way, because of who we are, we cannot. That's job one above everything else, is to mentally be ready for the blows that will always come. And so far, they have shown that mentality the entire season, including the Purdue game.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I have no idea how they didn't check out of that game, because I did. I mean, I was way out on that game. So
because they're different. I
think the way he is. I think everybody talks about Fred, rightfully so, with his scheming and his X's and O's, and he's able to the way the offense seems to just work out so well sometimes. I think as important, maybe more important than that, is the way that he so meticulously tries to mentally prepare this team in a way that's super customized to them and what's going to happen, and the success that he's had with it, because I think it's not easy to do. Nebraska football coaches have struggled to do that over a decade plus. Try and get the oh shit out of them. Yeah. When something goes wrong, and this team doesn't have it, and it's got to do a lot too with the personalities of the players, I think, as well. But and the age and all of that. But that's always impressive to me. So, yep. Hey, real quick, Josh. One more time, we are going to the NCAA tournament wherever. Yeah. By the way, I on the likelihood of places, the next one that came up in the thing that I ran, I've seen some Philadelphia, I've seen some Buffalo, and I've seen some San Diego. In terms of like the next tier, I have no idea if that's super hard to project. Yeah, but now I am on record saying, look, if we're going not to Oklahoma City or to St. Louis, I want San Diego or Tampa. I want to go to the beach. That's what I want.
I think I think I'd rather go to San Diego as a city. Tampa would be cheaper though, right? So probably Tampa would be the place to go next.
San Diego would be. I mean, just the opportunity. I've wanted to go back to San Diego. I haven't gone for years. Like, I would have a hard time being that disappointed about that. I've been. You and I disagreed on Tampa. We talked about it before, but I do like that Tampa and that Clearwater area. Certain
Scientology.
Well, that's not necessarily what I had in mind. But then beyond that, I don't think any of the actual locations excite me. It just in terms of where it is, I think
we want close, and then we want good weather, and then after that, it's just like a bummer.
But if you're not talking
Portland
about,
would be fun. We'd have a good time in Portland.
I'd have Portland and Philadelphia just from a locale perspective on the next line together.
Yeah.
I think I'd have Portland.
I think it'd be anti-Philly because of the Eastern time zone, not even because of the Eagles situation there. But
actually, I'd probably more than anything, I'd cheer for a Thursday, Saturday one.
Yeah, we got to figure out when we'd fly out. Golly, come on, Nebraska, take care of business so we can go. Sales at i80club.com if you would like to sponsor the trip.
I interrupted myself though. I wanted to give a shout out to our initial roster, our community partners. Josh, we got community partners.
We do.
Shout out Sandstone Wealth Management,
Let's go.
Shout out Eye Surgical Associates. Shout out Sutton, Linder, and Sutton. These are the early adopters that have been our community partners, and we haven't even reached out all that far. In almost every case, they've come to us and been unbelievably generous being a community partner, and we are going to give them a whole lot of love during the course of this tournament. And if you know of anybody else who would like to have that kind of love at a bargain price, I sound like a hooker now, then
no kissing though.
You should get in touch with us, or just give us an email. You can have them email us at Turney at I-80 Club, or Jack M at I-80 Club, or Josh at I-80 Club, or whatever. Those all work. But seriously, if you have any idea, and especially if you know someone who is in the rental car business, we'll trade. Rental car business would be good. Maybe in like the telecommunications business, and they're like, hey, what about like a mobile hotspot? That kind of a thing. Or things that could be utilities that we might use for the trip itself. We'd be willing to talk trade in those situations as well, and get you some love for that. Hey, somebody knows anybody who owns a Renovan? I'm trying to get a hold of you guys. Call me. Renovan in Lincoln and Omaha. Otherwise, we're moving on. We're moving on to another rental place. So
perfect. Sales at i80club.com. Hit us up. We would love to have you involved. All right.
You gave a different email than all the 5 that I gave.
Yeah,
they all work.
On the graphic, Jack, it says you made a million. Sales at i80club.com. Don't email any of the other ones. Just do sales at i80club.com.
It doesn't matter. I thought I put Turney at I-80 Club or on that, so we made that one too.
Yeah, sales at i80club.com.
We got when Matt said we should make email addresses, I made 50 of them.
I don't know why.
Over deliver.
We got I have Josh and Josh P for some reason at i80club.com.
In case someone makes a mistake.
So strange.
Not that strange.
You want to lower the amount of possibilities, not broaden the number of possibilities.
No, actually, what I did was right, because you can give only one of them out. That's completely fine. But if someone would make a mistake, you'd still get it that way. What if you bring in another Josh also?
Yeah, great call.
Right?
All right.
When I get Josh, I don't know who's the most famous local Josh besides you. I'm not sure.
There isn't any. I'm the only famous Josh. All right, here's what's going on. We are about to say goodbye to the coffee show. We are going to move on over to I-80 Live exclusively for subscribers. That one will start in a few minutes, and we will have our subscriber-only show. For those of you who are hanging out here publicly and you are not a paid subscriber, we would love to have you at patreon.com/I80 Club. And a reminder, we will be back for the Nebrasketball hour in, about 4.5 hours at 2:30 following Nebraska's romp over Northwestern.
Making a nice, easy, stress-free one.
All right. For Jack Mitchell, I'm Josh Peterson. You know all of the email addresses that you can find us at. Just shoot us an email. Just type in words at i80club.com. And you know what? Jack probably created an email address. We'll talk to our subscribers in like 3 minutes. We'll talk to everybody else later today.
Halftime.
Have a great Saturday. Bye-bye.